Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Bowe, and I am super excited. I mean, she's fairly new to the group. So, guys, you got to be like super nice here with Kim. It's Kim from Abella. Kim, what's up?
Hey Glenn, how's it going?
Man, it is going awesome. And, we got to connect at the dental festival. And I'll tell you what, I mean, Abella is super, they should be so grateful to have someone like you, someone as knowledgeable as you. But we want to talk about Abella, right? But before we get into everything, since you're kind of new to the group, first of all, tell us about what you do with Abella. And then for those members who don't know what Abella is about, tell them what Abella is all about.
Sure. Yeah. So thanks for having me. I am the sales and customer success manager for Abella. I kind of helped launch the brand back in 2019 when we went to market, and we've had some crazy success in the last couple of years. So it's really exciting to be able to come into this group and just speak to you guys about what we're doing and kind of the path that we're on and how we can maybe help you guys. So basically what Abella is it's a scalable AR solution platform that you guys can automate your collections. And the way that Abella is working is we integrate with your dental software. We integrate with about 95% of the dental softwares out there. So of course, the major ones that you guys are probably using. But if you need to get in contact with me and have any questions about maybe a specific platform, we're going to put my contact info at the end of the meeting where we can just kind of connect. But basically, Abella just upgrades your billing experience for both your team members and for your patients. So we text and email the patient directly once we've integrated with your dental software to communicate to them about a balance that's due. And they can just simply click through the process. It's very easy. It prompts them along the way. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to take any extra steps. So I feel like that's really important because I think it just only delays people to say like, oh, I'll just do that later if they have to go in and set up an account or something like that. So Abella is very seamless. They click a couple links, everything's customized for your practice, and they can just go in and set up their payment. So we know you're going to collect more money faster. We kind of anticipate from our metrics that's been consistent over the last couple of years that you can anticipate to collect anywhere between 30 and 40% more than what you are right now.
I love it. I love it. It's a tool I use in my practice, and we'll get into that. But guys, if you have any questions, do me a favor, type in the comments section, or if you're shy, you don't want anyone knowing it's you posting those questions, send me a DM. I have my other screen up there, and I'm like taking a look right now. And actually, I already got a question here, and
Awesome.
that is okay. So this doctor's wondering, okay, if I'm using a company I'm using a company where I send patients to collections, right? Can I still use Abella, or does Abella replace that and I don't have to use that other company?
Great question. So we would typically suggest you would not use your collection agency right away because Abella is going to be your first form collections method now. Instead of sending out your paper statements and your team sitting on the phone making phone calls, you're going to now communicate to patients of their balance through the text and email communication. And we follow up with them. We automate a lot of those processes. So really, you would be sending people to collections once Abella has exhausted its efforts, if that's something that you want to do. And we even have a lot of customers that kind of pick and choose, or even some of our larger organizations like the DSOs, MB2, North American Dental, they'll go in and write off balances at that point because we kind of know from our experience that if we've exhausted our efforts after 90 days of consistently working a balance for you, the chances of someone paying is about 1%. Mm-hmm. So, as a single practice owner, you might, want to send those people to collections, and that's fine. Just know that Abella is going to kind of help you and be a tool in your practice that you can better determine, what you want to do with those at the end of the 90 days.
And so there's a follow-up question here, and that is, okay, so if there's some people who they probably need to be sent to collections, if I jump on with Abella, are you guys going to evaluate that and give me some advice, or should I just start sending those people to collections?
You should put those people in Abella as well. So when we integrate with your dental software, the integration is detecting balances that are up to 2 years old that are free of insurance claims. So even if those people are already maybe in collections, we would suggest put them in Abella. Let us see what we can help you collect, because we're not really taking a percentage of what we're collecting like a collection agency would. And I think patients are just more responsive to this method because it's not just, hey, you're in collections, you need to pay us. It's a little bit more friendly. It allows them to opt into it and set up a payment plan if that's something that you want to offer. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised of even of the balances that are in collections, how much you can potentially still collect with Abella.
Yeah. Now you brought up something that was really important. I think you already mentioned in the beginning, but I think it's worth mentioning again. It's the integration with the practice management software. So which practice management softwares right now does Abella integrate with?
Yeah, so like I said, about 95%. I would say the
Okay.
majority of our customers are Open Dental Dentrix,
Mhm.
EagleSoft, of course. We do integrate with PracticeWorks and SoftDent and Denticon, and there's definitely a wide range of what we integrate with. But I would say, as a majority, of course, they're on the core ones that most dental offices are using.
Yeah, so pretty much, guys. I mean, they integrate with. I mean, whatever software you're using, they're probably integrated with that. So again, that's super helpful because you guys can pull that data, and you don't have to worry about the team doing it. It's not so much manual. So team members are always worried about. Okay, well, I'm worried that this is a new software that I got to learn. I mean, I just learned how to use these reminder softwares. I just learned how to use this new phone. I barely know how to use my practice management software. Man, Abella is going to we have a lot of team members in this group. So, Kim, you probably hear it all the time. You probably work with practices all the time. How easy is it to use Abella in the practice?
It's a click of a button. It is so easy. So
if you can click a button, you almost got it.
You can click a button, you've got
you
it.
You can read.
Definitely. We want to make it as easy for the team. We've even had some office team members tell us, this is so amazing that I would pay for Abella out of my own pocket. Like, it saves them so much time. It saves them so much frustration on just managing the accounts. And Abella essentially also helps you clean up AR, do some audits within your practice to make sure that insurance claims are being filed correctly and that the balance is true. So you can kind of make sure that it's all tight, it's very accurate. And then from there, you're just submitting patients into Abella that our integration is detecting and updating every day. And then we automate literally the rest. We go and communicate to the patient. They opt into their payment. We collect it. We post the payment to your dental software. We detect if there's a missed payment or a failed payment. So your team isn't scrambling just to communicate with the patient, hey, you need to go and update your card. We're doing all of that. So literally all the team member needs to do is just go into Abella and select the patients they want to go ahead and communicate to.
So, I'm a big fan of Abella. And again, guys, I know you probably want to know my experience and whatnot, but we'll get into that. But I mean, Abella, I mean, you guys work with all types of practices, right? From single practices, group practices, large DSOs, large DPOs, and different types of practice. So talk about that. Like, talk about some of the practices you've worked with. Obviously, you work with a lot of GP practices. What about like ortho? We have a lot of orthodontists here, a lot of pediatric dentists, some oral surgeons. What about these other practices? Is this Abella? Can you guys work with these guys too?
Yeah, we obviously can. I think it just depends on your AR circumstances in your practice. Do you really need a big scalable solution like this? So we typically say if you're sending about 100 statements, give or take, somewhere in that ballpark out per month, Abella's the perfect platform for you because you're going to be able to scale. You're going to be more efficient in your office. For orthodontics, we have a lot of practices that use Abella for their patient portion balances, but also use it for their ortho, just to automate, some of the payment processing. And
because they do a lot of payment plans and whatnot.
Exactly. And you can actually set those people up in Abella at the point of sale. So you can use the platform in a couple different capacities, depending on what your needs and wants are. I can tell you for the pediatric people that are, sitting in on this call, that Abella is great for pediatric organizations because the demographic is perfect. It's a younger group of people, younger moms and dads that are always on their phones. They want an easier and faster way to pay. So it's just very easy to slip that in and they'll be happy. So we have really good success with pediatric practices and even some DSOs that are really doing well with Abella. We work with some oral surgeons and things of that nature as well. Again, I think that there's some different options if you need the integration or you don't. You have some options. Again, I think it goes back to the volume of the statements that you're sending, if the cost like makes sense for you.
Yeah. So I
But
guess it all depends on if you send out a lot of statements. It doesn't matter
yeah,
what kind of dentistry you do. If you're doing
exactly.
that, then Abella can help out.
Yes.
Now,
And it,
now,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
definitely. No, I was just going to say it's going to definitely help you out. And we have some different options to where if you aren't sending so many statements, or you're more of a startup practice or something like that, but you like the idea of being able to communicate with your patients more effectively, and just kind of as you grow, potentially like the expectation and the standard of how you bill is already in place. Abella is a great option to where maybe you can just add people in manually, just to, use the platform. And then if you reach a point where you're sending too many statements, then you just upgrade to the integration piece where it just becomes a little bit more automated for you.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you that question, because there's different types of practices in our group. There's some established ones, some startups, but again, I think this would be a good practice to start working with Abella right now, because before you know it, your team members are going to be swamped with work. Things are going to fall through the cracks. It's good to have the system right off the bat. So I love the fact that you brought that up, because hey, we're not trying to say that you can't join the Abella club, right? I mean, there's an
Right,
option
exactly.
here. But if they're not sending out, let's go from, there's two extremes, right? There's the ones that are sending a lot of statements, the ones that are startup and they're not sending any statements. But what about the people in the middle who are not quite 100, but maybe they're like 50?
Yeah.
Do they still have a home? Is there a home for those practices in Abella?
Yeah, definitely. And I would say if you're, around that ballpark, I would suggest going with the full integration, because
Okay.
since you're able to, use Abella in other capacities, like for other recurring payments with no interest that you're setting up in your office, you can really get more bang for your buck and maximize what you're using the platform for, other than just those patient portion balances. So, if you're growing and if you're, kind of still establishing yourself and you're getting more patients into your office, Abella is great, because as a business owner, you want to know that the tasks being, that are related to collections and AR are actually getting done. And Abella is the perfect insight to that, because you can log in and you can see your reporting. You can see that, patients are actually being submitted. So there's no question, there's no, it's not left up in the air whether or not that team member is sitting on the phone doing follow-ups. That if they're in Abella, they're getting followed up with.
Now, you brought up a couple of things in your answer just now about, payment plans and whatnot. We talked about ortho, but, I'm a big fan of, payment plans and using compassionate finance, right? And there's a lot of people that are using compassionate finance in this group. And I'm telling you guys right now, I mean, there is a link here, right? But besides the link, right? I mean, if you're using compassionate finance, it makes so much sense to work with Abella, and talk about that. Talk about if they're already using that. That's a big part of their practice. Why is having Abella just like a no-brainer?
Yeah. So, like the practices out here that are using compassionate finance, you're using compassionate finance in your practice to create better financing options to your patients to get them to say yes to treatment, right? Abella is not really intended to help you with those type of payment plans, because it's not AR. Like, you're establishing almost like a loan to the patient, where if you're going to use both Abella and compassionate finance, you almost need to define your own threshold between in your office of when you're using compassionate finance and offering that to the patient, versus maybe setting them up on a very small, like 2 to 3 month payment plan in Abella, where you're not really concerned about earning interest in the end. You just want to make it easier for that patient to opt in and set up a recurring payment. And Abella is just managing that for you.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because there's always like some confusion there, right? That's like, I mean, oh, is it kind of like the same? Can it do the same thing? And look, it's a tool that's in your toolbox that it depends on the situation, right? And I love the fact that, if you're looking to just kind of manage things very simply, Abella is a great tool to use. And again, if you're a startup practice, right, that's where it makes total sense, right? Especially if you're like, thinking, all right, well, I'm not sending that many statements, I don't have that many patients there. Well, maybe you are doing you're thinking about doing a simple payment plan, Abella can do that. I love that. Okay, so here's the big question. All these people are asking me. They're like, okay, how much does it cost? How much does it cost? I'm trying to ignore you guys, but all right, I'm gonna address it. So before we talk about any Nifty deals, before we talk about how much it costs, let's talk about, not only does Abella work with so many single practice owners, right? Like the majority of people in here, you guys work with a lot of groups, right? And one of them, I'm going to give them a shout out because I love them. They changed the way I practice dentistry and really freed up my time, is MB2. MB2 is a DPO, dental partnership organization. We don't like the idea of DSO. It's dental partnership. We're all partners there, but pretty much all of us in MB2, there's 350 practices in MB2. I think there might be more now, right? And I'm one of the practice owners in there. We use Abella. So talk about that. I mean, pretty much, what are some of the things that you've seen? And here's the thing, guys. I mean, me and Chris Hoppower and Paul Etchinson, and gosh, I'm trying to name drop as many people as I can, but we're all in MB2, right? We're in MB2 for a reason. That's a whole nother Facebook Live. But Kim, talk about like some of the results you've seen with MB2 and why we love you guys so much.
Yeah, MB2, I again will do a big shout out. They have been a longtime customer of Abella, and they're kind of creating like a gold standard within their organization on how doctors are collecting. Now, since it's a DPO model, the doctor still ultimately gets to decide, but it's a really good tool for them to use to have that insight. I know off the top of my head, MB2 has collected, about a little over $10 million in patient AR for the practices that are using it. So it's really good there. I'll bring up the topic of acquisitions just because I feel like Abella is a fantastic tool for that. Whether, you're a practice out there that is looking to be acquired or sell your practice, or maybe you've bought a practice recently and you've acquired the AR. Abella, I cannot stress enough how amazing the tool is to help you clean up the existing or the AR that's in that particular practice, because we'll identify all of that. And then again, you're able to very easily go after that money.
So Kimberly, it's almost like you're washing your jeans and you find like $20 in your
pretty much
pocket, right? But it's not $20. It's like if you're acquiring a practice, and again, maybe you just acquired a practice, maybe you're thinking about it, right? And then you just go in there and you clean things up. It's like finding all this money under your cushion of your couch, right? So I love that, and I never thought about it that way. I think that's so smart. And again, it's all about opportunities, right? I mean, right. Do you have any stats? Let's talk about that. Do you have any stats of like how much money practices or are just leaving on the table that's not there? Like off the top of your head, there's probably every practice is probably just that's not using Abella. They're probably leaving thousands upon thousands of dollars just out there.
I can tell you that there's some single practices out there that have hundreds of thousands of dollars still uncollected, where once we've integrated with Abella, they can recognize all of that. And there's some practices that say, whoa, like I had no idea my AR was this bad. Like I kind of thought that
Abella basically pays itself like 10 to sometimes 100 times over, right? Depending on the practice.
Yes. Definitely. We've had some practices collect like over $30,000 in just the first couple of weeks of using Abella.
Okay, so we're going to do something kind of goofy here, right? Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Normally I do this to Steven all the time, but since you do the drum, I'm just going to throw you into it. What is that of the most amount of money someone like was able to collect with Abella?
A single practice?
Practice. I know you said 30,000. Is that the most that ever like?
Yeah, month? Off the top of my head, I feel like that is like a pretty substantial, like right out of the gate. But again, if you have 200, 300K sitting out there.
So I'm going to ask you that. What is the most that you ever seen that they had in accounts receivable? You're like, oh my gosh, this is like this guy or this gal has the record for the highest AR I've ever seen.
I think it
was single practice. We're not gonna do like group practice because that could.
Yeah, no. I think it was around like 1,500 patients for, I don't know, like $500,000.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of mind blowing because
did you guys have to like make sure the software was okay, like to double check that number?
Well, they definitely started slow. So that's something that we would typically suggest. Like when you start using Abella, you're not going to have your team click the one button to send that whole list in, right? Because then they're going to want to pull their hair out because there will be practice or patients that call the practice, whether they've not been in your office for a while, or maybe they don't know what this is. So they're just going to pay you over the phone. We would kind of suggest, hey, maybe you're going to determine what the sweet spot and what number you feel comfortable with as you start to get those patients in, so that of the people who are calling you, you can handle it. And you're not saying, hey, can you just turn this off because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would work with you there.
I love that. I love the fact that you guys work with, and you guys work with our team. I mean, guys, I want to tell you this right now. I have an awesome team, but they love to ask questions. And if the team at Abella can handle my office, they can handle any office. I'm pretty confident of it. Okay. Because everyone was asking. So you guys have been so awesome. Okay. So people keep on messaging me here, asking me, how much is this? What's the investment stuff? So let's just, before we get a Nifty deal, how does it normally work when someone signs up? And no, like I got this smart aleck here that says, is the Nifty deal free? Come on, man. All right. So anyways, what is the normal pricing? What is the pricing model like for a practice wanting to use Abella?
So like just our retail, like to market price is we usually charge a setup fee of $1,000 just so that we can, integrate with your software, train your team, get you going, that sort of thing. And then it's just a flat monthly subscription, like fee to the platform. You can put as many patients in as you want, even for those other recurring payments. So really Abella doesn't essentially care how you use the platform. We just want you to use it. So it's just a flat $299 a month, straight subscription fee. There's no additional cost to that. So super
and let's so again, like most of the doctors in this group, they're looking, they're like, $1,000 and $300 a month. Oh man. But let's, before you lose your mind here, I want you to listen in right now. Kimberly, on average, when you start a new practice, how much are you guys helping bring back into practice after the first few months?
You can definitely suspect that almost all of our practices are collecting 30 to 40% more than they were.
There you go.
So it pays for itself pretty quickly. And
will they get more than $300 a month?
100%.
Yes. will they be able to get their ROI? And again, we're not even talking about Nifty. Will they get their ROI back after a while for that $1,000 setup?
Yes, 100%. And again, you're saving your team time too. It's going to free up time for your team to be more efficient in other areas of the office, versus just sitting on the phone and trying to collect on those balances.
And that's huge because, guys, I don't know about you, but there's so many people in this group that are having issues not having enough team members, right? Well, what could you do for your existing team than making their jobs easier, right? Everyone wants more help. And it depends, it's so hard to find some help right now, but we have something that can not only help you, but they won't call in sick. They won't call in sick. They're showing up all the time. They won't call in sick. They won't leave after a few months. That's Abella. They're doing that. And that's going to make your existing team so much better. And they're going to love you for it. Okay. So I first of all, that's a no-brainer, right? The integration, but also the small fee every month. I mean, Kimberly already said it. You're going to make that back like so easy. The prices doesn't matter, but they love our group. Yep. So Kim, let's talk about the Nifty deal. I'm going to put you on the spot. You're new. Steve knows all about this, but he's not here. He's like, okay, how's you here? So I'm going to put you on the spot. What is the Nifty deal for our group?
So for the Nifty group, we are waiving the enrollment fee. So you would never pay
$1,000 right back in your pocket.
Yep, $1,000 in your pocket. And you also get a 30-day free trial. So you will be able to integrate with your dental software. Your team will be trained. They'll get to use it for free for that full 30 days, start collecting money. And there's no obligation. So the risk factor is gone. You really have nothing to lose other than just to test it out. And I promise you that you will be very, very happy that you implemented Abella.
So Kim, I'm going to put you on the spot again. I mean, I'm all about putting you on the spot here. So first of all, that's just the sweetest deal ever. But based on all the practices you worked with, right? During that free trial, do you feel that they're gonna be able to get enough back in the practice that they could pay for the next few months of Abella?
Yeah, and I think you're going to know within the first like couple submissions of putting patients in, especially if you're putting a decent number of patients into Abella, that you're going to see within the first, 7 to 14 days that it's a good move on your behalf to implement this. Like we used to not even do trials for people or
because it's
anybody.
So awesome. I mean, it's like, come on.
Yeah, we want to prove to you like, hey, there's no risk here. Let us prove to you that we're the solution out there to help you go and get this money.
So hey, John, who sent me that message, hey, can you get Abella for free? Technically, I am for a month. Okay. All right. I mean, there's no reason now there's no reason not to do it. Look, they want to earn your business. Try it for a month, right? And then when you're collecting all that money, then right? Then at that point, you'll know what the ROI is. And that $300 is not going to mean anything when it comes to helping your team and helping you get all that money back in. Okay, so it's a killer deal. It's awesome. How do they sign up? What's the best way? Obviously, Steve's in this group. I'm going to tag him in this. You can do. He loves it when people DM him all night long. Like he absolutely loves it. So let's make sure we do that. But Kim, what's the best way other than DMing Steve? What's the best way to get signed up for this?
Well, Steven's putting a link in the chat. He created a landing page just for Nifty Thrifty members. So you can just click on that. It'll send our team a message. I'll connect with you and then we can kind of get you set up if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, I'm going to put my email in the chat again. It's kmulkey@abellaar.com and you can reach out to me directly. We can discuss, we can set up a call with your team if you want to, walk through some more details, but super easy to get set up. We just send you an enrollment form to initiate the trial. You'll see that it reflects the 30-day free pricing. And then from there, we just take next steps to integrate with your dental software and train the team. And then you're good to go.
I love it. I love it. Kim, thank you so much for jumping on. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And you got to take it, if you haven't used Abella yet, there's a lot of people in this group. I use it. I love it. I mean, it's made my practice so much more efficient. Also made my team members a lot happier. That's a big one too. So anyways, feel free to ask questions in the chat, but I put her email there and also Steve is going to drop the link in there. Take advantage of that deal. So Kim, thank you so much for jumping on.
Yes, Glenn, thank you so much.
Yeah. And guys, we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye guys.